Welcome back. This is part 2 of an interview series that is 3 parts long, where I interview a woman named Sue that grew up as a young child during the Great Depression. In the first part, we learn about social settings in the 1930s. We learn about what the Irvington Club was. We learn about being a kid during that time and what it was actually like and what she missed and what she didn't miss. We also learned about a doctor that came to her house to eat regularly, and he would time the boiling of the green beans that had been canned previously to make sure that they boiled for 10 minutes before they ate them. That is, on a canning perspective, something I find very interesting. Being a canner, you're told to boil things for 10 minutes, and to actually see that it was being done back in the 30s, that's kind of interesting to me. Anyways, let's get with it. This is part 2 with Sue during the Great Depression. This is our journey. Welcome to the Betancourts homestead. County, right? Sarah in Texas has also asked, was it as bad as the history books made it to be? So when she's reading a history book and they're talking about the Great Depression.
I don't know. What are they talking about? I was a kid. It was fun. It was, I didn't know we were having hard times. I was a kid, and all kids were kids.
Yeah, so you played and...
Nobody told us we were poor. Nobody told us we were having a rough time. So we didn't know that. We just lived.
That is really an interesting concept, because now parents are always trying to put their kids in the nicest outfits, the nicest toys, the most up-to-date cell phones. But back then, you didn't have that stuff. You were just allowed to be a kid, and you didn't have the extras. And you didn't miss it.
No, we didn't know about it,
Yeah, and here they think if they don't give their kids the most up-to-date cell phone, that they will be traumatized. And here you are saying totally the opposite. I like that a lot. Dawn in Fresno, California states, and we already answered parts of this, see if you have anything to add. Did the community come together to help each other? Or was it everyone for themselves?
It was community.
Community.
No, there was none of this, I'll get it, you can't have it. No, it was share and share alike.
So we're going into grocery stores now, and the shelves are empty of things, or the great toilet paper rush that happened during COVID. That wouldn't have happened?
No, well, you didn't have the money to lay in supplies. You bought what you needed, and that was it.
That's neat. And you shared what you could with your neighbors.
Yeah. If Mrs. So-and-so down the street was unable to get to the store, you would shop for her, or you would share what you had bought. Yeah.
And because you had the previous relationship with her,
well, you knew her.
Yeah.
You knew everybody. You were all friends.
Dawn in Fresno, California is also asking, what was considered the most valuable thing to have? A vegetable garden, livestock, possessions?
Well, in the city, it was possessions.
Okay.
Most people did have a car. It wasn't a fancy car, and one car per family.
Really?
And there was nothing like TV, As a matter of fact, I remember being with my mother when we bought our first radio.
Really?
Up until that time, you had conversation, and the statement was made, the radio is the end of the family as we know it, because everybody will be sitting there with their ears glued to that box, and there'll be no more conversation. You won't even know your own family.
Oh, that really strikes at something with me, because they say that about the TV I remember
That was next, yes.
And then the internet and video games.
Oh, that's the end of the family.
It's the end of, and
but each one of these new inventions has added to the disruption of the family.
Or taken away a small portion of the family.
Exactly.
So what do you think the solution to getting the family back would be?
Oh, I hadn't thought much about that. But it'd be really nice to sit like we are sitting, without TV, without my scanner on, you know.
Okay, I made her turn her scanner off so that we weren't interrupted.
We won't know who is having a car wreck and which road is closed.
You were concerned about that. We'll do just fine.
But, you know, if you can do away with the extraneous, you can settle and talk and learn to know your own family. That would be kind of nice.
That would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of
And
nice.
no sports programs and no somebody has to be there to get ready to do thus and such and my appointment and so on.
No extracurricular activities. So
time for family.
Yes. And nobody shoved in their phone, looking at their phone going, Yeah, I like that. So possessions. Did you ever hear any stories about what it was like out in the countryside? No ideas of...
I had friends that lived on a farm, and it was always fun to go visit them and get to help milk the cow and ride the horse, and that was fun. But you know, that was them and we were us, so.
I'm slightly jealous. You've milked a cow.
Oh, yes.
That's on my bucket list.
Oh, hey, just remember to pinch at the top so the milk doesn't go back up, and then squeeze. It took me a long time to figure that out. You had to stop the milk from going back up.
Oh, okay. That's what that... So I have a kid named Riker. He is such a sweetheart, and he told me you have to pinch and then squeeze. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Why?
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. That's your answer.
Thank you. Someday I will get to milk a cow.
Good. I hope so.
Me too.
Got to. That's one of those things.
Right?
Nobody does that today. And if you have a dairy, you have a machine, you know.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I love the old-fashioned way of doing things. So, yes.
It's awfully nice to have an automatic washing machine and a clothes dryer and
a dishwasher.
I use mine maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it's to sterilize the dishes. It's not something, you know, I could live without that easily.
There you go. Tanya in Maryland says, what did you do if you needed a hospital?
A hospital?
Mm-hmm.
You went to it.
Okay.
Dad drove the car and took you to the hospital.
Was it expensive or did they...
No.
Not like it is now?
Oh, no. Mercy, no. Let's see. My husband worked for the state, and when my kids were born, of course that was after the Depression, but I think we were given $150 on our insurance to pay for the hospital. And those days you stayed 2 or 3 or 4 days when you had a baby. And I'm the only person they knew in Forest Grove that had a refund check from the hospital. But you know, that $150 covered the whole bit. So
wow, I wonder what $150 would equate to today's money, and what it would cost now for a kid. What year was that $150 given to you in? Do you remember?
Well, let's see, 53, 55, and 57. It was the same for all my kids.
So that's very interesting that it sounds as if healthcare has just skyrocketed to where it is.
Oh, healthcare and medicine is ridiculous. I wish we spent a little more time controlling those costs instead of charging for insurance, which doesn't cover it anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Tanya in Maryland has also asked, was food rationed per family, people, or age?
No,
No.
not during the Depression. During World War II, yes, indeed. There was heavy rationing.
Can I come back and talk to you about World War II?
Sure.
Promise it won't take 10 months again? I love World War II, the history that's behind that. Sabrina in Salem, Oregon asked, what did people do to keep their spirits up? But you're saying you didn't even know there was an issue.
No.
Interesting, isn't it?
We were a family. We had friends. We never paid any attention to being sad. I mean, everybody was in the same boat. Everybody. Without all of the things that are going on now, without all of the handouts from the government. I shouldn't say handouts, but you know, all the programs to aid people. If you're poor, you can apply. We didn't know we were poor. We couldn't apply, so we just did our thing and
made life work.
Yes.
I like that. It sounds like it was a much easier time back then.
It really was.
Yeah, simpler. Ready?
Uh-oh.
No, it's a good one. Liz in Fresno, California said, did the government provide guidance on how to fend for yourself, foods to grow, ways to preserve them, and max storage for nutrition? And this is during the Great Depression. Did they provide any of this information?
No. Well, not that I was aware of. I was a child, you know. I don't know for sure that they didn't, but I don't remember that they did.
Okay. Because I happen to know that they did for World War II.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for the Victory Gardens.
Oh,
so.
yes. Well, we had a lovely Victory Garden.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Grew potatoes in the parking.
What?
Oh, yes.
Explain.
Well, dug up the parking, you know, that was ground, and planted potatoes and had all the potatoes we could. Well, we also had a vegetable garden out in the backyard, but there was that gorgeous green plot. Why not use it? Everybody else was.
Nice. And that was during World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We need to schedule that. Rachel in Idaho is asking, what, if anything, do you wish you had done that you haven't gotten around to doing? Is there anything on your bucket list?
Oh, there are a few places I'd like to go back to, but actually I've done pretty well everything I wanted to.
Nice.
I never wanted to jump out of an airplane, so that doesn't bother me. I've never had a parachute. I get airsick on top of a step stool. I never wanted to swim the English Channel, you know. So what I really wanted, I pretty well accomplished.
What did you really want?
I wanted to see part of the world, and we did a lot of traveling. And home is best.
Is it?
It's always fun to go, but oh boy, is it good to come home. Your own bed, the people you know, and yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I like traveling, but I do like coming home too. It is fun. Unpacking my suitcase and just sitting on the couch and going, yes.
My suitcase is still sitting, you know, at the foot of my bed. I've been home for almost 2 weeks now. And
well, because nobody else knows, but these people that are here don't know, but you actually travel a lot still. You're going down, you have timeshares.
Yes, whole 60 miles, you know, but it could be a world of difference.
Yeah,
it is a world of difference.
Is.
Yeah.
And you still enjoy the coming home part.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, my, yes. Oh, boy, tomorrow we get to go home to our own bed, Ginger.
Because you take Ginger with you.
Oh, yes, Ginger. Well, I wouldn't go without. She is my ears. So she is legally classed as a support dog, or as
nice. So she's a working dog. She's also right by your feet. Pam in Oregon asked, what are your fondest memories that make you smile when you think of childhood during the Great Depression?
Oh, gosh. I think I was always smiling. You know, it was fun to be a kid. You got to go out and play workup, and you played with the whole neighborhood, you know, from kindergarten through high school age. You were all friends, and it was good. It was just good.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be afraid, and there was no bogeyman, so it was good.
I think one of the things that you said that was really interesting is that, you know, she didn't have firsthand experience, but she knew what it was like for other people around her. Mm-hmm. And that keeping in touch with your family, staying in touch with your family, seems like it would hold everyone together through the hard times. It seems like the common thread, my mother is off camera, she's knitting. Oh, God, I didn't know it was on. Yeah, but it seems like, oh, yes. It seems like the common thread to all of this, and the battery died, so on the last 6 questions, so we'll go over those again. But it seems like the common thread that I'm hearing so far through all of this is that it was the strong families. And the strong families occurred before the age of the radio. And I liked it because knitting was involved. Knitting was involved. Well, yeah, and there were hands-on crafting, knitting, tatting, crocheting, all of that stuff. And don't
Fancy
forget,
work, yeah.
I know I'm speaking here, she is a tremendous craft person, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And did you get that ability of crafting because there wasn't radio and TV? Was it something that was passed down by your mom?
I got bored. No, my mother did not do this kind of stuff. And I had time on my hands, so I got a hold of a knitting book. My grandma knitted, but she didn't like to be bothered with little kids. So I bought a book and taught myself how to knit. And I did all my sweaters for school. And
how old were you when you taught yourself to knit?
Oh, probably 12.
Okay, that's young. So Pam in Oregon asked, what are your fondest memories that make you smile?
You know, things were good. Yeah. People were friendly, and I had a dog, which I dearly loved. Oh, yes, yes. My grandma thought I needed a companion, so she got me a dog. And yeah, the dog and I did great things. I had a bicycle and roller skates and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and it was just fun. It was fun being a kid.
Awesome. And you had family?
Yeah.
You knew your neighbors, you knew your family. Okay. So these next 5 questions were questions that my husband and I thought were good, because a lot of the questions that were asked, I had explained earlier, a lot of these questions that were asked were from young families, moms with young children, and their hearts are very concerned that if we ever did go through hard times, they didn't know like how many pairs of clothing or shoes should you have for children, how much is too much, how much is not enough. And I know kids today always have to have the updated cell phones and the updated video games, and you didn't have any of that. So as we go into, if we ever did go into a depression, these were questions that we thought would be good for the moms to hear the answers to. Because what I'm hearing from you so far is that you just had a good time with what you had, right?
Exactly.
So thank you for watching part 2. Part 3 will be coming up next week. And it is kind of like a recap with also some very interesting questions. We wanted to know overall what she felt would happen if this occurred in this day and age, and if she thought we would be better off or if we would be worse off. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, smash that notification bell so that you can also be notified when the next one is released. And thank you very much for watching. You guys have a wonderful day.